Hold on.
What the hell is this?
Perfect. Now let me go back to Zoom where I'm at.
Just give me the count and we go.
And we're on. Go.
Okay, welcome back. We have our late night panelists, and this is part of our new programming, part of the late night show, where we just bring on different guests and talk about several issues that's burning in the community. I'm also joined by my lovely co-host DK, all the way in Marigo. Hi, DK, how are you?
I noticed you lose weight, Andrew.
Oh, stop it, come on! You
Careful.
always trying to put me on the spot. Stop that.
No, but they might steal you. I mean, beautiful men, virtual
It's
room. I
you
mean,
know what I always say. It's no matter what kind of
Fernando has the right. He has the right
no matter what kind of
shaper.
size I am, no matter what kind of size I am, I'm still the same dick.
Oh my God.
All right, so
Fernando enjoyed.
we have two panelists for this late night on the first edition, and that is of course from the French side, well known. Know it all. It's know it all is a good way of describing you, Mr. Paines. This is Victor Paines. He's also a political analyst. How are you doing, sir?
Yeah, well, good morning to you, Kath and
And the
Mr.
dick.
Andrew Dick, and good morning to my brother Fernando Clark.
Morning to you too.
No, I'm not a know-it-all. I'm a know a lot. Not know it
I'll
all,
take
know a lot.
I'll take it. I'll take it. And also, of
Yeah.
course, radio personality and also a know it all, Fernando Clark.
Well, good day to you too, Andrew. I'm not a know-it-all, but the things I don't know, I don't know. So what I know though, that's for sure. So I could call myself a know-it-all. Only the things I don't know is what I don't know. So,
All right.
but it's good to be on the late night.
Thank you so much. Now, let me
Yeah.
start off with some of the burning stuff that's happening. I'm sure that DK is going to come in for particularly our friend side, but we'll start off with the dot side, Fernando. You know, when we talk straight. So
Yep.
the situation with the economy, COVID-19 is still here. Apparently, I thought it would have disappeared by now, but apparently it's still here. Surprise, surprise. So I guess the question would be, in this new St. Martin that we have, that we forced to deal with, do you see it going any better anytime soon?
Allow me and
Well,
Fernando, keep in mind that it's the new year and everyone has been going around Happy New Year, Happy New Year. And I'm still trying to see what's happy about it. Go on.
Oh my God.
well, I think it's happy that you made it into the year. Okay,
Oh,
so that might be the happy. But
That's a good one.
I think COVID was one of the best things happened to St. Martin. We managed to get men to stay home with their wives or with their bisides or with their side chick or whatever. They were home. We managed to get families to stay together. We managed to keep people out of the supermarkets unnecessarily. You know, I think if we look at the good of COVID, there was a lot of good in it. You know, this is the first time we had a curfew without a hurricane, and there was no looting during this curfew. You know, so a lot of good things came out of St. Martin. St. Martin proved that we could curfew without looting. So that was it. The first time in the history that the borders were closed, I think that was historic. I'm not saying it was good, but it was historic. This was the first time I get a view of the airport without any activities going on. You know, so thanks to COVID, we managed to do a lot of things that we didn't ever do. It was the first time in my life I was going up Colby Hill and a police officer turned me back and tell me go home. You know, we have never seen that before, that people from Colby couldn't go over the hill into Phillipsburg, and people from Sucker Garden and Milliridgeon and St. Peter's couldn't come over the hill into Colby. That's the first time we had that. So COVID showed us that a lot of things could happen in St. Martin, you know. So a lot of people criticizing COVID, but a lot of things that government couldn't manage to do, COVID managed to do it. So I think we have to look at the positive, and COVID managed to get the Funksy book in place. I mean, we had Minister of Justice one after the next that just couldn't get it done. One COVID, and bap, it is done. Or maybe it is that the male justice ministers couldn't do it, and it took a female to do it. So I think the women deserve a clap in this COVID thing. I see a lot of positive in COVID. This is the first time I didn't have to put gas in my car for almost 3 months. That has never happened. Only COVID could do that. You know,
Fernando,
so
that's what you're taking out of it, is all the goodness that came out of it in terms of your own convenience and comfort.
it wasn't only mine. I'm not a police
Everybody.
officer. I don't
So,
work in the justice ministry,
so
and the
Andrew,
function book is good now. So I
so
think
Andrew, you were forced to stay home. Did you stay home?
No, I was working, so that's not a fair question.
Not relevant. Okay.
So Victor, I'm sure you'll give me from the other side. Fernando gave, I guess, from the Dutch side. So give me a friend side perspective.
On the COVID issue?
Yeah, like dealing with COVID. Now, do you see us? Because I'm sure the state was now I have to switch my head to friend side politics. So the state always they use this as a good way of, you know, bringing the collectivity to its knees on many issues, because at the same time, yes, your social system that you guys have is the most in the world, but at the same time, the money have to come from somewhere. So I'm sure if COVID wasn't there, many things right now wouldn't be in place on Friends in Martin. You tell me if I'm wrong with that statement, Victor.
I would say yes, you're wrong with the statement. The COVID didn't specifically change the St. Martin North situation in regards of our relationship with the state, the French Republic, and it didn't give the state the opportunity, the state administration the opportunity to put the local government on its knees. The local government was on its knees before the COVID, and I don't think they'll get up even after the COVID passes us, because I know for sure it will pass. I'm a very optimistic person, and I know if we do the right thing, it will pass fast. But if we play the fools, like how we've been doing it, then we'll have a COVID, passing around. COVID doesn't have foot and hands and eyes and ears, so it cannot travel on its own. It needs people that are disregarding the sanitary precautions that everybody should be applying, that has COVID going around. And well, to be on the sad side of the thing, it kills people. It's not
Victor,
a joke. Yeah.
Victor, let me ask you, you're saying that the government was, on its knees way before COVID. Can we truly say that the central government put our local administration on its knees, or that is the narrative that is presented to us, as in it's just a consequence? It's just I don't know. I am wondering if it's a true statement to say a simple, the central government put us on our knees. I'm not sure if that is as accurate as it sounds.
And also keep in mind, Victor, that the reason why I say that is because, for example, remember the border issue and the Kath and the registering and having to send information to the collectivity over information because you want to go over and visit your family or you want to pass the border. So you're given all the information at the same time, and then the collectivity uses that information, or the state uses that information as, oh, okay, so you have two addresses. Oh, okay, so this is the situation that's really happening. So it's a way of cleaning up. Now, you some might call it a consequence, but I call it opportunity.
Oh no. That narrative was out there and making a life of its own, but it has no foundation.
Okay. Okay.
It has
That's
no
good.
type of foundation at all. And let me tell you the reason why. One
All
of the
right.
first thing that came out is that and for the 2 months lockdown, there was approximately 2 million euros not collected and social benefits, let's call it so. And when you look at the global amount that is transferred to the beneficiaries via social benefits,
Mhm.
uh, it's about 40, 46, 40 million.
Oh,
So if you divide that by 12, you would get something close to 3 million.
yeah.
And if it says that only at the post office because of people that couldn't get to cross the checkpoints, it was 1 million a month. It tells you that the majority of the people that are using this that are benefiting from these social benefit are living on St. Martin South. That can only be a blatant lie. It's not factual. Okay, somebody began inventing, I would call it a stupidity. All right, and it started living a life of its own.
Okay.
No, I'm serious, and you know what?
It's a good thing. It's a good thing you said it, because then I can also then take it out of my because I it's one I think DK, remember we spoke about it during the time when it was living a life of its own. And then I think you said the same thing that Victor said at the same time, which is, yeah, but there's no facts that says that that is the case.
No. What is
And I
what is
also,
please
if I will,
please DK, let me just clear this. What is the fact is that both the services of Country St. Martin North and state services, they are working conjointly to look at the all the files. All right, they're doing some house visiting and things like that, and they're discovering people who are frauding the system. That has nothing to do with COVID. On the contrary, COVID sort of put a damper on that because the workers couldn't go out and execute the job that they're supposed to be doing. But it's not a bad thing to let's say expose those that were fraudulently declaring that they are in the rights to be given social benefits, because when that's the case, then it makes it much harder for those who really need it to get it. So for me, that's a good part that COVID probably did, Fernando.
Mhm.
But it has this idea that they use COVID to try to no, that's stupid. It's totally stupid.
if I may, there is something I found to be very erroneous in terms of that those figures is that the people, since when Irma hit and people lost a lot of homes, there is a lot of precariousness that has been organized. So you have different people who are going to one side because of the convenience of having a place to sleep until
Mhm.
they can actually get their homes repaired and so forth. And because they've had to do it on their own with the resources they've had, I'm sure we all know at least one person whose house is still flat on the ground since Irma and who still has to struggle and live by this parent. And living with other people is a little complicated at times or generally. And so I think that's one of the parts of the figures that made no sense in terms of the St. Martin context with having to deal with a devastating hurricane that we've had in 2017.
Well, I agree. I agree totally with your observation, and I would say I'm living with my wife, and it's complicated. So imagine those who are living by a friend or a family. I don't know for you, Fernando, but for sure that's my case.
Well, it's difficult living by people, especially if you don't like the people or the people don't like you, or even if it's your wife and you don't like your
Yeah.
wife and your wife don't like you. So it could be a problem,
Yeah.
yes. let me put it like this, it could be a problem, especially if you have 20 people living in a small house.
Yeah.
But again, COVID showed us that we can do it.
Yep.
You know, so all those people that were there, and then I don't see what's a big fuss with the Kath money. The money is there to be collected. You don't want the money sitting there, nobody using it. So if people coming from wherever they're coming from to use it, let them use it. That's what the money is for.
Yeah.
And then the money goes back in the economy. Okay, and it's better that you have people use the money than you leave it there and people steal it. So again, COVID bringing a lot of positive to even the economy. So I there with it. The churches say that they get more money. The government is the only person complaining that they ain't getting money, but everybody else getting money. Till them make more money.
So that's Fernando, that's where I wanted to go. I mean, and this is I guess where we would get the different sides from our panel. Is the government doing enough to get us out of the economic hardship that we're in? And DK, I'm sure, I don't know if that should be the same question for Victor for the French side, but
government's never
you
doing enough.
understand where I'm coming from.
Yeah, totally. Especially because when you said earlier, you said, the French side with their aid packages and the different opportunities that present themselves within the system. But we also have a tranche of people, in this case, the business community, that have stated, and there was a whole movement, protests and so forth, because they were unable to tap into the little that was available. As Fernando's like, if the money is there to be taken, take it. But even those people didn't qualify particularly to get access to those monies. So in the end, it became a non-solution. Well, it's still a kind of solution, a partial solution, at least to those that were able to tap into it. But a majority were not able to. So we'll hear you guys on your. We'll hear your input.
Yeah, that was, I don't like Andrew, no, I drive into. But yeah, that was a little inconvenient. But trust me, after COVID, those people went and collect their money. So I don't see it as if it was something that stayed that way forever. The people went and collect the money eventually, and guess what? They spent it. Okay, that's what money is for.
Can somebody answer my question now? Is the government doing enough for both sides?
No, government's never doing enough.
Okay. Fernando, seriously, man.
No, but Fernando gave it bluntly
Government's never.
as a sarcastic answer, but he's not far from the truth still. You see, if you analyze what should have been done and what has been done, you'll realize that on no sides at all, the governments are doing enough to keep the economy sort of afloat despite the pandemic conditions. We heard about a little stimulus plan on St. Martin South. We haven't heard much of it on St. Martin North. And I can assure you, where the economy is concerned, where the general, let's say, the whole scope of those that are participating in the economy, if you'd want to compare us with another region in France, I think those regions in France, got more of a injection of those monies than St. Martin, whereas St. Martin is still in a lot of need because um, 2017 was the most devastating hurricane in mankind history, and 2017, and before you can get to begin, fixing what has happened in 2017, you got a COVID and a lockdown and other things that even came before that disrupted the economy. So if an injection of money is needed to, yes, to jumpstart the economy back, it hasn't happened on St. Martin, not in the way it should have been happening. And we can only blame government for not doing the utmost best to make it happen. I think they didn't. They didn't petition the state um, uh, government enough. They didn't expose our needs enough. They didn't bring figures to the board. So as a result, and they didn't bring our real situation to the board. I think less than half of the people on St. Martin got, relief from the relief funds that was put in place by the state government, and it's unfortunate. And then, if you can understand that St. Martin, the government has in her portfolio economic development, and there should be money set aside in the budget for economic development, and we haven't heard much about St. Martin not pumping some money back into the economy for economic development.
Victor, can we truly say that, is it that we haven't done it, or is it that we're not sure where we're going? Because what is the economic, or should, if you will, scheme that we are pursuing, or what is the economic plan that we're pursuing with the administration that we have? Is it, to you as a political analyst, political hopeful, future candidate, do you see it being something that is just in need of unfolding, or is it that we don't have one? I'm really asking the question.
Well, I can't really talk about what we had before as planned before the hurricane hit. I don't want to defend the government, but the hurricane hit pretty early in their mandate. But after the hurricane, or you should have profited from the hurricane to really put in place a plan B that would have taken into consideration the imposition by the hurricane and try to benefit from that. Um, I guess no less than 3 billion euros were injected in the economy of St. Martin, not via the insurance policies and things like that. And you got government still complaining about the entry of sales tax, the TGC, as we call the what is it called on St. Martin South, the turnover tax. On both sides of people, the people are complaining. And if you look at it, it's like almost that they lost 50% turnover tax. Well, if you lost 50% turnover tax, your economy supposed to have been slowed down about approximately 50%. But if you're getting 3 billion euros injected, then there's something wrong. Plus, only from insurances, you got other areas where money was injected. So when I say the government hasn't been doing what it should have been doing, is because you can't have on one side money coming in to be transformed in St. Martin, and it is probably transformed and going back out at the same rate that is coming in, which means nothing is really staying in St. Martin. So as a consequence, you're not being able to collect taxes because nothing is really staying in St. Martin.
All right.
And this
Now,
is where I'm saying that St. Martin's not government, much more so than St. Martin's South Zone, hasn't been doing the right thing given the circumstances.
now, today is one of those important days for us, and
Okay,
the reason why
come back
you
on
can hear
that.
me? Okay, you can hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you, but
Okay. So today is one of those important days, particularly for the Dutch side, and this question is a little bit more for Fernando, because the IPCO begins today, virtual meeting between different partners in the kingdom. Yesterday, the opposition in preparation for this particular meeting was truly the opposition, and they were, talking about the ill preparation, the non-preparation by the Silvera Jacobs to cabinet. And I guess my question more is for Fernando. With the IPCO going on right now, do you think that we will get the backing from our partners, or at least we will stand tall and tell the Dutch that yes, we agreed for this particular entity to come to St. Martin, but we need to figure it out. Instead of saying we're going to take the money and then when it goes to Parliament, we're going to do nothing about it.
Well, Andrew, the thing is this, a wounded man will take any plaster to help him. And what the Dutch have systematically done is wounded these islands. And when you're wounded, you want, what would I say? You want to heal, and that's what the islands opted for healing, because no government want their people starving or living in a situation where they can't eat. So they will take the option that will remedy that.
So
But
selling out is selling out part of that then? Is selling out part of just this saying, okay, we hungry, so we're going to take it?
yeah, well, listen, I was about to say, taking it comes at a price, because the Dutch have not given us the help without a price attached to it. And the price is that something you want to pay. Now, if you're hungry and you go in a store and the store owner tells you, you hungry, I got a pack of M&M here, you pay me $20 for it. Okay? Now, the food that you might get, or let's not say a pack of M&Ms, let's say a satay potato, but it's going to cost you $40. The food is good, but not the price. You understand what I'm saying? And that's what the Dutch has done to us. They give us the food, but the price of the food is what is not good for us. So there will come a time we'll say, boy, I prefer starve than to pay $40 for a satay potato. Somebody else would say, boy, pay the $40 because we need the food, and then we're going to deal with the price after. And I believe government did that option. They say, we're going to pay now, get the food, and then we're going to deal with the price after. And, some people call it sell out the country. I feel that we are being very hard on our government. I think we have to be hard on the Dutch.
That's kind of funny coming from you, though, Fernando, saying that we're hard on the government.
Yeah, well, yes, because no, listen, I'm not supporting what they did, but I'm looking at it at the predicament that the Dutch put us in.
Okay.
Because listen, let's go back into slavery. The slave master take a slave and say, I want you to whip these other slaves. Under normal circumstances, that slave would have never whipped his brothers and sisters. But the slave master put him in a position where he had very little choice but to do it. Otherwise, he himself would have get whipped or maybe even killed.
Yeah.
So the Dutch put us in this position where if you do your damn, if you don't do your damn. So yes, I don't think our government should have taken the bait, but I blame the Dutch for putting us in this position. I mean, the Dutch could have just simply give us the money and say, well, guys, spend it responsibly. We want to see how you spend it. That's all of that is fine. But to put us on our knees.
So what about and what do you tell the argument, DK? Sorry, but before I go back to you, I just want to just make the point of people saying, yeah, but when you go to a bank, you get conditions. So what's the problem? Then don't ask for money if you don't want conditions.
Andrew, if I may, before you give both your answers, before we close off as well, I have to let you know because we have to go. There is a new trend, which is a European trend, and that we're observing on the international political scene, right? Which is the following: financial hostaging of states or of sovereign nations or of territories. And it is now something it is so rampant. So just when you give your answers, gentlemen, keep that part in mind. Okay, because you're saying, when you say don't ask for the money because it's going to come with condition, but we're not on a level of a banking or financial institution per se, bank format. We are in a kingdom relation, we are in ministries and things of that nature, so it's a bit complicated, and now it's the new trend, but it's happening on different levels and different areas.
Yes,
Go
I
ahead,
Yep.
was
gentlemen.
I was about to pitch in on that issue. Um, Andrew Dick, for sure, yes. Kat, pointed out to you that analogy is not the same. And when you're lending money from a financing institution, the conditions are simply to guarantee that you can pay back the money that you've lent, because their job is to lend money to make money on the money that they lend you. But that's not the role of a state.
Sorry, Victor. Victor, before you continue, I think somebody has their mic on. Please, only persons who's speaking have your mic muted, and the person who's speaking can have it unmuted, of course. Yes, go ahead, Victor.
Yeah, so I was saying that that's not a job of a government, of a state government. Um, in my book, the we call it conditions. I wouldn't even say a condition. I would say a roadmap, as to make sure that because we're in democracy, all the checks and balances are checked and the balances are balanced.
You know
Which
what,
means,
Victor? What's funny is that I like how you would like for it to be or how it's supposed to be, but understand what I'm saying. Every time, I'm going on trend, I'm not going on my belief or what I think it would be or the history of the Dutch. I'm going based on how they dealt with us in the past. And how they dealt with us in the past is every time we want something, they want something. And every time we tell them that that's what they do, they tell us that's not what they're doing because we need to be more responsible. So if that is the way that they do their so-called parenting, my point is then say that is it. I don't like when people say, yeah, no, it's a democracy and we're not supposed to, and they're supposed to be supervised. Yeah, it's supposed to, but we're not. We're supposed to have um, 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 unapproachable, unapproachable politicians, but we don't. It's just that's how it is. Sorry, continue.
yeah, okay, all right. You see, we need to call, we need to give Jack his jacket. And it is without no doubt that the political culture on St. Martin South, much more so on St. Martin North. Now, we're only talking about St. Martin. Other islands have their problem too, and other countries have their problem. But the political culture on St. Martin North has been to such a level that everybody can be suspected of doing um, immoral and acting immorally, okay, or being corrupted on St. Martin South. We can't build a future for our country where that is concerned. We have been taken uh, the situation that we enjoy. I would call them the glorious years of the end of the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and even up to the 90s, that we took them for granted, and we feel that, there's a saying, some people here saying, man, that their money can go low, but it can never finish. But that's way, way far from the truth. And I think that a lot of people in the political offices think that the St. Martin growth or St. Martin prosperity, or I would say even so-called prosperity, can never finish. And to that also I realizing that's not true. So when the kingdom government is talking about responsibility, um, that is what I'm saying. And not to say that the kingdom government is much more responsible than us, but if the effort has to come from all the partners in the kingdom, okay, and the money that each individual somewhere in Rotterdam or any other place in the kingdom, that money need to be spent wisely. So yes, for some, I would say, quote unquote supervision, but of course not conditions that you replace me in my function. That's not what the constitutional build-up of the Kingdom of the Netherlands is all about.
Correct. And it's
Yeah.
not, that's definitely not partnership. That's definitely
Yeah,
not
and that's not partnership. So as a consequence, I've said this already, and I'll say it again on this program. St. Martin South, much more even so than St. Martin North, need to know what type of relationship they will accept, okay, to have being a partner in the Kingdom of the Netherlands. It cannot continue that we equal, but we ain't so equal for two. It cannot continue, for instance, on UDIC, that whenever you have to talk about kingdom government, you're talking about the Dutch.
Yes.
But I don't know if you
I
have
agree.
a Dutch passport, but I do
Yeah.
think you have Dutch nationality. There's only, for me, there's only one type of Dutch. Okay? Yeah. I mean, of course, they can have different skin colors and ethnicities and stuff like that, and they can be geographically placed in various places
Yeah.
on the
I know it's the same. It's the same thing. It's the same thing for whenever you go to France and they ask you where you get this passport from. It's almost as if it's not the same, right?
Well, no, I will accept that a man of the street, that because he is somewhat ignorant, would stereotype me and class me as cannot be French because French
Yeah.
people supposed to be white and holding a baguette between their legs, a bread baguette, and not no other baguette. All
Yeah.
right. So
I understand your point. No,
yeah, you understand the point. So
I understand.
our members of parliament, our executive part of government,
Mhm.
need to take up that mantle fast and work and do what they have to do with it. We cannot be in a relationship where we're not equal. We're saying we're equal, but we're not so equal for true. I had a discussion yesterday with last night with a lady, I more familiar with St. Martin South and has a passport, a Dutch passport. And I was telling her that how is it that you got 4 partners to form a kingdom? You got a kingdom, you got 2 houses in the kingdom, 2 legislative houses in the kingdom. All right. But there's no representation in those 2 legislative of people from St. Martin, Curacao, Aruba, Borneo. How is it that you're equal? Because the kingdom government is the government that makes the rules and regulation for the kingdom. At least on our side, we can say we got a deputy and a senator. We didn't have that directly before, but now that we changed status, we inherited the rights to have a deputy and a senator. But on St. Martin South, there's nobody sitting in the chambers from St. Martin or what. So which means that St. Martin cannot participate in forming the kingdom government.
Yeah, they can't. Yeah, no.
Okay.
So that is where the first hypocrisy comes from, I guess.
That's where the first big hypocrisy comes.
Yeah.
And then there's a mix-up between the Netherlands and the kingdom.
Correct.
The Netherlands is all the land all the landmass that comprise the geographical area that is called Netherlands and Europe. Of that, you got Holland, South Holland, North Holland, and what you call it, Friesland, and all those little, you call them provinces if you want. I don't know the right calling. Okay, but there's no how you say, there's not a the Holland, not Holland, the Netherlands in itself. There's ambiguity. Is it the kingdom? Is it a geographical part that has no type of political power? All those things need to be clear where the kingdom is concerned, because we know what is St. Martin South. St. Martin South is on the island of St. Martin. You got St. Martin North, that is part of the French Republic, and St. Martin South, that is part of the Kingdom of the Netherlands. You got Aruba, Curacao, and Borneo, Station, Sabre Station. All those are parts. but they clearly define and they clearly have a governing body that is governing them. They got most of them got a legislative part of government, an executive branch, and even a judiciary branch. But we don't have the same for what we call either the Netherlands. We don't have that. So we got a mix up between the government of the Netherlands and the government of the kingdom. Well, if it's a government of the kingdom, which means the parliament and the legislative bodies, I mean the executive body, then St. Martin, Kelba, Kelso, and Bunya, all these territories of the Kingdom of the Netherlands need to have their representation there. In that case, I think we would have been able to make and break government and the Netherlands instead of calling them the Dutch and can't do nothing more about it.
Okay, Victor.
Andrew?
Okay. Yes, DK.
Yeah, I was going to say, Andrew, we out of time?
Yes, I was just that. Okay, you go ahead. Mhm.
No, you go ahead. We're out of time. We really want to thank you guys for chiming in. I don't know if Fernando wanted to chime in before we leave, but really a quick chime. But I thought the discussion was pretty interesting.
Yes, a very interesting discussion, and I think discussions like this should take place. So we should continue these type of discussions.
We will. Let's see. Maybe we could do it once a week. Since you driving and talking, so we could do that. That means you're flexible.
Yeah. I'm hoping to see you driving soon too, huh?
I'm actually driving. And I'm gonna be there before you. So you're wrong. Thank you guys for
being
here,
ready.
And we'll of course come back. Make sure you tune into SOS Radio where Fernando has his program. I was just about to say online. What's it? 12 o'clock? 12 o'clock?
12 to 1. 12 to 1 talk with Fernando Clark.
Okay, yeah. SOS 95.9 was Victor.
Yes.
It's what almost daily on SOS Radio also. Thank you, Victor. DK.
Yes,
of course.
I just want to say Happy New Year to the people in general.
Oh Lord, you said Happy New Year? Okay, DK, don't take off his head.
Just to choke DK later.
I'll just say have a good transitional year. I'll just say have a good transitional year because that's all going to be happening. Anyway, thank you, gentlemen.